So I had a chance to watch the 12-minute Red Table Talk about Will and Jada. Now, we know that, all the rumors that was out there, rapper August Alsina said he had a relationship with Jada, and he said he was putting his truth out there. And, many people, he said, that was attacking him and saying that he was lying. And he said he lost money, he lost friendships, he lost a lot of business deals because people were saying that he was lying and trying to harm the Smith family, right? People that got maybe some loyalty to him. Well, everything came out, so they did this Red Table Talk, and I was very interested in watching this. I did view it last night in its entirety, and I was looking at a few things that I wanted to pick apart, and because I feel I can talk about this a little bit because I have been married. I am married now. I had a divorce before. I know about, the ending of a marriage. So I can kind of talk about that from that guise, and I can understand some things. Maybe some don't that aren't married or never been married, etc. Right? So just life experience. Now, everyone talking about Jada talking about the relationship as an entanglement. I thought that was a very interesting word that she used. Now, the story was that August Alsina was, physically ill. He was brought into their home. They were trying to nurse him back to health. And during that time period, as Jada said, they was, talking to each other, confiding in each other. Her and Will was having problems. Will even said, yeah, I was done with you. And I felt the way he was saying it, like, I was tired of you and I want nothing to do with you. I already let you go. And he specifically made sure to say, I was done with you. Right? Because they had rumors out there that said that, Will gave her permission to do that. And she cleared that up and said, no, he didn't give me permission because it wasn't his decision to make. And he was saying, look, I had nothing to do with what she had going on. We were separated at that time period. Right? So behind the scenes, yes, everyone knew what was going on. They worked it out. They came back together, whatever. And one thing Will says, what's baffling me is that why this coming out now, like 4 years later, and not back then? Like, I don't get it. And unfortunately, Will, that's how it is, because you can have a video, you can make a comment these days, years ago, and now it comes back like something brand new. Now, as Jada was, explaining herself, everything that went on, she was trying to be so vague. And Will was like, all right, Jada, you at the red table. Come on now. You need to really say what's going on, because she was trying to be so vague in her response. She really didn't want to get into what she was doing. But the thing is, what she was saying was she got involved with him and she was missing something and she needed to feel good. And it was all about her because she was having her issues and problems with Will, right? And she didn't fully get that from her entanglement with August Alsina. And obviously the dude has some sort of feelings for her because the way he was describing things in that interview with Angela Yee from the Breakfast Club. So Jada, as she explained it, everything to Will and they're talking about, their marriage and all that. To me, when I was watching that, I was like, boy, Jada, you kind of cold. I say, because when someone's sick, they are vulnerable, no matter who they are, right? And you took advantage of someone sick and being nursed back to health. And you know what I'm saying? That's how I look at that. And then I'm looking as a man and I'm thinking about Will, just how I think. Okay, if I'm in the position of Will Smith, I got all this accomplishment and that's who you go fool with? Him? Like that. That's my mindset. And I'm looking at, and I'm not even where Will is at, but if I was Will, I'd definitely look at that. Then another thing I noticed, you see what kind of dudes she went fool with? The same kind of dudes that she was fooling with prior to Will. You get what I'm saying? So when she said that she, not being fulfilled and she's missing this and that and the third, I'm like, is it because maybe Will was just better to be a husband and them kind of guys like, the rappers and all that wasn't the kind of guys that would settle down and be a husband? You get what I'm saying? So you kind of like settled with Will. Yeah, I'm not saying you didn't love him, but did you settle with him because it's not the kind of guy you wanted because you like that thug type? Let's call it what it is. Jada liked that thug type. That's mostly been who she tried to fool with in her past. And my thing is this. This is why I always told dudes, you need to look at the kind of men that woman was dealing with prior to you, because that's what she like. If you see this kind of guy, that kind of guy, it's always the same kind of guy. That was she like. And then she gets with you, it makes you kind of wonder, like, what changed all of a sudden? What's going on? You get what I'm saying? So Will, during that red table talk to me, he was looking like, man, all this man, this is BS. He had that look in his eye, right? That just BS. Like he seemed like he was upset because, man, your junk that came up, man, and now I gotta talk about this. And we talked about it years ago, but because of you, now everybody's talking. That's the kind of, the deal that Will had to me. Like, you put me in your mess. That had nothing to do with me at the time because we were separated. And see, when I watched that red table talk, I said this, and that's why I don't believe in separation right there. Because when I had my first marriage and my ex was like, well, maybe we should get separated. I said, nope, I don't do separation. But I said, the reason why I'm not going to do separation with you is because if I get outside this house and I meet a woman that could be great, she could be, better than sliced bread, and I'm still tied down to you. No, if I walk out that door, I'm getting a divorce. You ain't about to tie me down. And sure enough, this separation deal, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people, do not do separation. Don't do separation. If you guys at that part that you got to break apart, okay, well, just end it. Don't sit up there and have it in, because separation is like a lingo. And you know good and well, she's going to be doing something or he going to be doing something. I'm not about to sit up there and be worrying about what she got going on, no dude. And see, if Will would have took that approach like me and said, if this is it, this is it. There ain't no separation. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm going to do me, you doing you. No, I'm not going to be now, because he did the separation thing. And then now they came back together. And yes, they dealt with it back then. But because you're public figures, you can't hide anything. And I don't understand that. The more public you become, the less privacy you have. Now, see, if there was just regular folks, whatever, nobody would even care about this, right? But it's a good life lesson to learn with this. And we can look at different situations. And listen, no one's family is perfect, because, everybody tried to say, oh, Will and Jada and be like the Smiths. And we heard a lot of rumors going on, in the past about the Smiths. We heard that Will had other women and all that thing. But you know what? Whatever Will had, we don't really hear nothing about it too much. You know what I'm saying? At least not yet. We ain't heard nothing about it. But, somebody say, oh, Will's so cool about it. He's so cool. He was cool about it, and I don't take it to him being a simp. He was cool about it because they dealt with it 4 years ago, okay? It was a time when they were separated. They wasn't like, oh, okay, we together, we in the house, we actively married, and then she done that. That's totally different. And Will been sitting there like, yeah, okay. Then I'll say, oh yeah, Will being a simp. But now, if the man say I was done with you at that time period, then obviously they had that situation. And listen, I've talked to people like that and say, listen, yeah, I done this, she done that, but hey, I'm not tripping on that because we wasn't together. Now we back together now. Now it's a little different, okay? So no, Will wasn't a simp for having that conversation or having that kind of approach or laughing about it, because he was over it already. I just think he was more upset that this is coming back up now, and Jada didn't involve herself with a guy to know how to keep his mouth shut. You get what I'm saying? Because August Alsina shouldn't have talked. He should listen. Would you be a grown man, a grown woman about your entanglements, right? Keep your mouth shut. Why you gonna go quote unquote tell your truth? Why? Why do everybody got to know what y'all doing? Keep your entanglements to yourself. That's not everybody's business whatsoever. But no marriage is perfect. Don't ever look up to nobody's marriage and say, oh my God, I want to be like them, because we're all human beings. Will and Jada's a human being. Whoever else is human beings. People make mistakes. People got flaws. Every day, in relationships, you're learning, your spouse or whoever you're with, right? I've been married going on 9 years this year with my wife, right? we're still learning new things, and things are definitely get better and better as the days go by, but we're still learning things. Life change. You have to go through different changes in your life. For instance, I got one child grown in college, another one about to go to college. Hey, that changes. Life about to change here in my house. Well, I just had like my little one here, right? And I have 2 gone. And just my son coming through, at the time. In another 3 years, he gonna graduate school. So that would be a change, right? So every stage that, like I said, me and my wife been through, like I said, now we haven't had those problems because I've learned from my first marriage what not to do, right? And some things that I've learned to apply, I didn't have the issues and problems I had in the first one. So Will and Jada, like I say, they had problems. Some couples do have those issues and problems, and you got to deal with them head on. But the situation with Will and Jada, I know 50 Cent had, a message, Will asked him, was he good and all of that. And 50 made that comment, but how is it they saying, she called it entanglement, but it's about getting her back blown out. And Will had told him like, F you 50, like what I do like that, so that was a funny exchange I, saw on the internet. But unfortunately, you don't want your family business out there at all. Like I said, I try my best to keep my family private much as possible. I don't want my family on the internet. I don't like nobody knowing about how I live, what I do with my kids, my family. I just try to be private as possible. I understand the more and more I get public, eventually that could change too. But I'm gonna try to slow it down much as possible. Because it's not, some people think it's cool with people knowing who you are. And I'm not saying I'm nowhere near the level of Will and Jada, but the few times that I work with my family and people recognize me, different places or whatever, I'm cool when I'm by myself, but I just don't like it when I'm with my family. I just don't, because I don't know who this person is. Maybe they're real cool, or it could be somebody just don't like me. That's why. I've always been that way. I'm not looking for fame. I never have been looking for fame. So I don't know how the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's and all these different other celebrities deal with people just coming to everywhere they at. I understand why they shut a mall down, a store down for them to shop. I get it. Oh, I get it 100% why they do it, because they would not be able to shop in peace. And then the thing is, if you try to be a human being and try to say, okay, all right, let me do this. And they were so rude to me. Now they made a 1,000 headlines that you were rude. You know what I'm saying? So that's one. I do not want to be that kind of celebrity. Like I said, I like to be the behind the scenes guy. What's his name? Slim from Cash Money. He was getting all the money, but he was behind the scenes, not hardly known. So it's definitely a good thing to not be too known. Right. But hey, if you're a public figure, then do what you do. Some people like that. But, that Red Table Talk was good. I'm glad they did it on their own. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't give no network, no exclusive. I know they was offering them money. That way they was in control of it. I mean, it was good to watch. I mean, it was definitely good to watch and hear them talk about that. But, it's crazy. It is crazy. But, leave me a comment there. Think about the situation with Will and Jada and your opinion on the Red Table Talk. Like I said, just coming from as a married man and being through, divorce and all the things I've been through. I understand that conversation they had. I understand why Will was how he felt, because when a man's sick and tired of you, he don't care about who you even fooling with. He just don't care about it like that. But he dealt with it back then. And just the embarrassment of everything now is probably what pissed the man off more than anything else. But let me know what you think in your comments.